Hi everyone, I'm Lisa and welcome to Lisa's Stamp Studio. The new catalog is just days away and the excitement is building. This catalog is filled with so many beautiful products. You're not going to know what to get first, I promise. There's something for everyone and lots of color schemes and lots of themes. So to kick off that new catalog that's just days away, I decided to use a brand new product called Daisy Delight. You're going to love it. You can buy the stamp set or the punch individually or as a bundle to save you 10%. And here's the card that I created. I can't wait to show you how to use that punch in an unconventional way so we can double up those beautiful flowers. And of course, teach you a fun frame technique for your cards. Remember, you can find the pictures and the supply list for today's project over on my blog. I've put the link down in the description bar below so you can access it easily by clicking on it. It'll take you to my blog, right to the post where you can find it. Remember, while you're there, to check on the online classes tab. I've got some fun ways for you to stamp with me from home. Let's get over to that stamp table and let's get started on this project. Here's a close-up of that card we're going to create. Isn't this cute and so simple? I'm excited to teach you about the frame. This stamp set actually is from the brand new catalog that's coming out on June 1st. Oh my gosh, the anticipation is mounting. And we've just got a couple more days before I can officially open the pages and show you what's inside. And this is the stamp set. It's called Daisy Delight. Isn't this cute? But I'll tell you what made me fall in love with it even more is the coordinating punch. Now you can buy them individually or you can buy them as a bundle. Bundled, you'll save 10%. And quite frankly, why would you want this without this, right? So this is what we're going to be using today. I've got a piece of crumb cake cardstock. You're going to find all the cutting dimensions for today's project over on my blog. If you're viewing here from YouTube, the link is in the description box down below. I'm going to fold that in half, and I like to use my bone folder for a nice crisp crease, so my card's going to open this way. Now let's talk about this. Do you see the frame around here? Really simple to do, and I want to teach you how. I've cut a piece of cardstock measuring 3 3/4 by 5 inches, and that's going to act as my template for this frame. Now you can manipulate the size to whatever you like. I'm using the Project Life journaling pens. These are being reconfigured in the new catalog, so don't be discouraged, you can still get these. Now they come in two different sizes. There's a 0.5 and a 0.1. Obviously the 0.1 is thinner, much finer, and the 0.5 is a little thicker, and that's the one I chose for my card because I wanted to bring out that black from the center of my daisies. So I'm going to hold this in the center of my card and just line it up the very best that I can. And then I'm going to take off the cap to my marker, and I am actually going to test this on scratch paper because I want to make sure that it's flowing well before I get started. In all my excitement, I moved the paper. Okay, that's pretty good. So you're going to use the pen straight up and down, and you're going to go slowly. So I'm going to turn this, and I like pulling. I find pulling is better than going in the opposite direction for me. So you might want to experiment. So I'm to the corner, and I'm going to turn, and then I'm going to come up here around my corner, and I'm going to turn, and I'm going to give you a couple tips. If you mess up along the way, it's fine. You can do some doodling. You can make some doodle loops in the corner. You can add some dashes, some stitched marks, little hashtag marks. And it all looks good, I promise. I've made several of these, and I've had skip marks. Look, I almost had one there. And then you just cover it up with an embellishment or a little bit more doodling. All right, so let's say that we had a big oops. Like I got little oops right here. But let's say you had a line that did this. It went down and then it kind of skipped. So you can use stitch lines. You can use dots in between. And if you get to a corner, consider making some loops up there. Lots and lots of fun to fix all those little boo-boos. Remember, it's handmade. We want it to look handmade. All right, so we're done with this. I'm going to set my template aside, and I'm going to save this for future cards. Now here come the daisies. I've got some scrap white cardstock here and my daisy punch, and I am going to punch out several. So I've got one, and I'm going to pull that out. You can see that it's very, very filigreed, very sharp here in the center. So be very careful with your fingers. And then 2, and I'm going to need one more, 3. What we're going to do next is we're going to cut these daisies in half down the center. So I've got this one, And this one actually is going to get mounted off-centered to create those daisy double petals that you saw. So I'm going to put this underneath so you can see me just a little bit better. It's a lot of white on white. So I'm going to use a glue dot to do that. So I'm going to peel this back. I am going to add a glue dot to the center on the back. And then I'm going to offset this by putting my petals this way. Now I know it's uneven. It's okay. It's all right. We're going to fix it. So I'm just going to tweak these just a little bit because I want to make sure that they fall in between each other. Do you see how it's uneven here? That's all right. So I'm flipping it over and I'm just going to give this a little bit of a haircut because that's actually going to get covered in just a minute. So I've got one. And now we're going to make some smaller ones. So here's another one. I'm going to cut that in half. And then I've got a glue dot here. And we're going to put those together again this time. So I'm concentrating more on this side. Okay, but I want my daisy even smaller, so I don't want that many petals. So I'm going to cut this one off. All right, and I'm just going to make that straight. So now I've got another one. And then I'm going to do one more. I've got one more in half. And then I'm going to add a glue dot to the back. I'm going to mount that again offset here on top. And again, I want this one even smaller. So I'm going to come right up in between and I'm just going to curve this off. So now I've got a little bit of a center there. We might need to trim that up just a little bit more so we can fit the black areas on there. But you can see that my petals are really kind of whimsical. I took my bone folder and I actually curled some of these just to give it some realism so they weren't so flat. If you don't like this step, you can skip that. And then down here with these, just to kind of give it a little bit of motion. And then lastly with these, very similar to curling ribbon, but you just want to be careful so that you don't break the petals off. Next step is some basic black cardstock scraps, and we're going to use the 1/2 inch circle punch. And we're going to need several of these, so I'm going to punch 3. And the easiest way to do this is back to a glue dot. So we're going to put a glue dot at the very bottom of the circle, down here. And then we're going to mount it on top of here. This gives us a chance to kind of look at this and decide where it needs to be cut. So I'm going to cut straight across here. So I've got one. I'm going to do the same thing with the other one, right down near at the bottom, because remember, we're going to cut half away. This one's going to go down here at the bottom. And I'm going to use this one from the back. So I have this as a guide. Okay, and then one other. And that's now down here at the bottom. Same thing. And then this one's going to go here. And again, we're going to flip this over and we're going to cut straight across from the back. So it looks more purposeful from the front than it does from the back. The back looks really ugly, doesn't it? Now these are going to need something to attach to. So let's go to the stamp set. There are several stems in here, and I chose this one along the edge, and because it's photopolymer, it makes it very pliable. So this is what I did. I actually laid it on here, and I kind of curved it a little bit because I didn't want it to be straight. Once I had it where I wanted it, I pressed. If you find your photopolymer is not sticking, it's because your block is full of oil from your skin or debris from the stamps. You'll need to clean it. The best way to clean it is with hand sanitizer and a paper towel. So Old Olive ink is what I use because I liked that tone on the actual cardstock. So now I'm going to tap to ink it up. And I'm going to come down here, working in the corner, and I'm stamping. Now this time, I only want a small branch. So I'm actually going to clean my stamp on my Stampin' Scrub. It's actually just off camera, and it's like doing the dishes for your stamp. So it gets all the ink off. Going to make sure that it's dry. And now what I'm going to do is I'm actually only going to ink part of this because I only need a small part. So I'm going to ink just part of it. If you don't clean it off, the residual ink will be slightly lighter and it will show. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to bridge this one down here at the bottom. All right. Now this next one I want a little bit straighter. So I'm going to clean my stamp again. Again, I am off camera. I'm sorry. I only have so much room in here. I have a video on the Stampin' Scrub if you haven't seen it. That'll give you a good idea of how it works. So now I've just kind of wiped off the block, and I'm going to put my stamp right on top of there, fairly straight. Going to give that a little tap, and now I'm going to ink this up again. And I'm going to come all the way down here to the bottom, and I know they're going to overlap, but that's okay. And I'm going to stamp. If you have some of your leaves outside of your frame, that's totally fine. So this is where we're going to anchor those daisies at. Now, before I get too far, I want to do my words because my daisies are going to take up some room. So I chose the words from that very same stamp set, and they say, "Your thoughtfulness brightened my day." Love that. And I'm using Memento ink, which is my very favorite for photopolymer when I'm going to use a black. So I'm going to ink that up. Just make sure I've got good coverage on there. And I'm going to stamp that up here near the top. And I've got my flowers, and I'm going to flip these over. I'm going to do it on here so you can see. And I'm going to work from the back, and I'm going to use a dimensional. So I'm going to put one dimensional on the back of each one of these. Make sure your dimensional doesn't show from the front, so make sure it's not hanging off the side. So this one I'm going to check. Yep, that one looks good. What I'm going to suggest you do first is that you actually position these to make sure that they're going to fit where you want them. So I'm going to do this one down here, this one here, and this one probably up here. Okay, so I'm going to take off my paper backing, and I'm going to mount this one here, making sure it's not going to impede on my words. And then this one. I'm going to put this one over here. I want this one tipped a little bit. I don't want it hanging out the edge here because I want to make sure I can get it in the envelope, okay? And then here's my last one. And that one I'm going to mount all the way here, and I want this one really good and tipped to kind of fill in that area. Look at that. Isn't that cute? And really simple, and a great way to use that punch by cutting those images in half. So we've got this one, and we've got the card I made before you joined me. You can see that the stems, no two times are ever going to be the same unless you make repetitive cards in order. Really cute and really, really simple. And I can't wait to share more new catalog product with you in the next few days. June 1st is the big day. If you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss anything, and subscribe to my blog. I offer a free weekly e-newsletter. I would love to have you sign up to join us. Let me know if you're interested by pressing the Contact Me button on my blog. Thanks so much for joining me today, everyone, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great day.